Hey, here's an in-depth analysis of what happened in Broadway Bomb 2022. This is my beginner's guide to Broadway Bomb. This is my first Broadway Bomb, and I made a promise I was going to play it safe. I said I was going to slow down for traffic, and I wanted to see how well can you do in Broadway Bomb playing it safe. So Broadway Bomb starts running up a hill, and the one thing I knew about Broadway Bomb is I could easily get lost. I don't know what I'm doing, so I'm following Titus in the red and purple. Now, in this sprint uphill, I kind of regret that. You could fall down, seeing Jason fall over there. There's so many people when you're running. I really should have just started skating from the beginning, which would have been faster uphill for me. So once you get up that hill, you start going down the west side. At this point, the traffic is really light. Eric Palmer is up front. Eric Palmer raced for Blue Sky Racing, so I knew I was in about the right area. But the strategy here was there's a lot of people around me. I knew they were getting a little excited, so I just took a deep breath and maintained a steady pace at the starting of Broadway Bomb. Now, it is really chill at the starting of Broadway Bomb. The pavement is really nice because the police are there closing the traffic now that they're okay with Broadway Bomb. And I'm just taking it relaxed through these intersections, clapping a little bit so the pedestrians can hear me. A good tip from Titus was that you gotta yell at the pedestrians, or you go silently past them, depending on if they look like they're gonna either jump in the way or if they're gonna keep on moving. Now, the biggest factor in Broadway Bomb that you're gonna see in this video is how to take good lines through traffic, which is something I don't know necessarily, not being from New York. Now, this is my third skate race I've ever done, and it's my first skate race really shoulder to shoulder with the other two being ultra skate. So you can see me getting clogged behind the electric skateboards, the traffic, and the pedestrians, and this is all because I don't know what I'm doing. So coming into this, my plan is to follow Titus Lazar, who comes zooming by right here. Now, Titus knows what he's doing. He's won Broadway Bomb before, so my strategy is essentially not knowing that Daniel Lindsay is up at front in this race. I thought Titus was up in front, so the plan is just follow him. Look at his lines, see what he does, and just observe from a distance, so that way I can hope to pass him at the end, because if I don't follow Titus, there's a high chance I get lost. Broadway Bomb is kind of confusing. Paul Kent was telling me he's gotten lost or hit a pedestrian in every race he's ever done there. And as you can see, following Titus doesn't necessarily work. I still get bogged behind the cars. Jason and Eric catch back up. So you can see that people with more experience, like Jason, Eric, and Titus, take the traffic better. So that means that I have to plan on sprinting a little bit more. Now, every time you sprint, you essentially burn up a match. A match, you know, you light it on fire, it's gone. You've only got so many matches in your matchbook, so to speak. So I have to be careful, because if I'm going to be trying to follow Titus to do well in this race, that means I can't burn too many matches, because then I can't sprint past him at the end. And Titus isn't a fool. He knows that I'm going to follow him. So the strategy here is he's thinking we're the 1-2 pack. We got me, Titus, Eric, Jason. So the strategy is he's going to ride up front at a pretty relaxed pace. We're going to follow him, but essentially we're putting pressure onto him. You're in the lead. You could take the win, but if you slow down too much since you're in the lead and you don't want to do all the work, then other people will catch up to us. So it's kind of like bargaining. Now, I know that the west side is pretty relaxed, but as soon as we get into the Columbus Circle area, which is what we're about to hit, things are going to get crazy with Times Square, Union Square, so I've got to stay close to them. You can see me taking some dumb lines. I don't know why I'm riding over these cracks. That takes up a lot of time. You can see him drift, and that's just a little bit of energy I'm wasting. So in Columbus Circle, I'm feeling pretty good. Riding behind Titus, we're just cruising. He knows that it's a showdown there. I can see him, so there's no really reason for him to sprint, which is why we're going slower here. But as soon as he hit Times Square, he knows he's the better traffic rider. So he's going to try losing me. Because if Titus can get out of my eyesight and put in that extra effort to sprint away, then he could lose me, and then there's no chance I catch up to him later. As you can see, he's gapping me a little bit, but I just barely have the eyesight on him. And I'm struggling with the pedestrian traffic more than he is. Right here, I take a pretty bad line. And this is probably the 5th or 6th time now that I've had to sprint to catch up to him. I take another bad line, and at this point, Titus has 100, 150 meters on me. And I'm starting to worry that I'm going to lose sight of him, not know where I'm going, taking these last-minute turns. Luckily, the traffic works towards my favor once in a while in this race, even though I don't know what I'm doing. You know, even Titus makes the mistake once in a while. You can't predict everything with traffic. And in this case, traffic works to my advantage, and it closes that gap that might have had me completely lost and not even place in Broadway Bomb. A good tip with the traffic like this is you watch the pedestrians, see what they're doing. Now, Titus pulls a great line through this traffic. Really smart, read it really well. I did not read it well, and I have a late reaction time. So following Titus's lines is not a foolproof thing. Sometimes I just screw up because he can take a really tight line and then just block me out of it when the cars are moving. At this point, you can see I don't really see Titus. He's far in the distance, and I'm sprinting to catch up to him. This is what, like maybe my 12th or 15th time. Almost every intersection, I lose a little bit. I have to pull him back. Titus is doing a good job tiring me out because he knows I'm going to hang on to him and try passing him at the end. At this point, it's getting a little bit more heated. Titus makes a mistake, and this is where I decide, well, I'm an ultra skate skater, right? I don't have a huge sprint, so I'm going to go ahead and do a long effort just to drop him. That was a mistake because I don't know where I'm going. Immediately, I don't know where I'm going, and I hear Titus yelling from behind, "Take the bike path." See, Titus is a good friend. He could have just not told me.
Race!
Now, I make an immediate mistake after this, and I think maybe I can get a better speed on this bike path. Of course, that was dumb following that bike path. I didn't know where I was going. And then I had to take a terrible line through this farmer's market where Titus gained a solid 100 meters on me. And this is where I'm starting to think, all right, I've been sprinting a little too much. This is not good. Titus is, he's really far ahead at this point. And it's going from relaxed, like we're chill racing, to maybe I'm in trouble here. And then I slow down for a car, and then I almost completely lose sight of him. And this is where I'm thinking, all right, I thought I had this under control, but Titus has been racing the traffic so well. I'm going to have to really dig a little deeper now and start sprinting.
Sorry, man.
You start getting some gaps, and the people filming the race on the e-scooters, the unicycles, etc., start filling that gap, which makes it a lot harder to navigate the traffic because they tend to slow down more since they can accelerate easier, whereas we try to conserve the energy. Luckily, I can follow these scooters to figure out where Titus is, using it as a visual cue. And luckily, this traffic slows him down a little bit, and it gives me an opportunity to catch up to him right as we turn a left and a right. And if I didn't know about that, this is just another example of where I would have had to pull out Google Maps because I don't know where I am.
Sorry.
I thought this line was pretty funny, riding in the gutter. Now this is another big goof. I take it slow through the intersection, and that means this electric scooter makes a big gap slowing down in front of me as we pass through the Indigenous Peoples Parade. And I almost completely lose eyesight of Titus. This is, I don't know, the 20th time I have to sprint to catch up to him. So this irregular sprinting is really starting to wear on me. I'm not a great sprinter, and I'm starting to worry at this point. We do a little bit of funny riding over the sidewalk through some people.
Shoot. Losing him.
And I still don't see Titus, but luckily I can just use the visual clues of following the people filming.
Through.
So as you can see, I'm riding straight into traffic, which is not great. I have to slow down. In a second, you'll see how Titus takes his line through traffic as I try to catch up to him. So at this point, I know it's a little bit of a straight line. I'm a little bit less worried about getting lost, which is good, because Titus almost completely lost eyesight of me, so that was close. He did a lot of good strategic racing. And at this point, he's kind of slowing down because there's not a, like, he looks behind, he sees that I'm still there. And if we're racing for 1-2, there's no point in him sprinting his guts out. So he's just going cruising speed, making sure no one catches up from behind. And he's going to take some smart lines through the traffic to try to drop me. But he's not burning up all his energy because he's going to sprint away.
Well, that was sketchy. Holy. Oh, that was not good.
As you can see, the unicycles help slow the traffic for us, which is a positive because sometimes they slow you down, but in general, I believe the electric boards help a lot with the race, slowing down the larger intersections. At this point, we're almost at the finish, and we were asking around, you know, I was asking around, how close are we, so I could strategize a little bit more. At this point, I'm not really worried about losing him per se, but I know I gotta reel him in because I'm running out of time. All right, watch Titus take this intersection. He goes towards traffic, and then he goes with the flow of traffic as he's turning. It says traffic only moves at like 20 miles per hour. It's pretty okay.
Wait, Daniel's here? I didn't realize Daniel was here.
Like fools. So at this point, I'm like, well, better start sprinting, put in my long range attack, and just see if I can drop Titus. At this point, I thought it was a straight line, so why not give it a go? Of course, that was probably a mistake. As I said earlier, I don't know what I'm doing, and it's cocky to try to go ahead. Of course, I tried taking the left line on this bus, stupid. Slow down a ton. That one mistake, Titus passes me with like 200 feet easily. He's way in the distance here. I know I've only got a couple blocks left to reel him in. At this point, it's like, haven't got the gas. I don't know if I'm gonna make it. Slowly reel him in, but as I said earlier, when you get a gap, you also get the electric boards between you and the gap. And I don't think that makes a difference per se in this one, but as you can see, at the end, it tightens. There's not really any room to sprint. And knowledge wins overall. Titus comes in second, and you can see Daniel Lindsay was first the whole time. So as much as tactics are good, it's also good just to be fast and the race well.
Damn, I lost you at the bus. I know. Oh, I'll take third.
I was in the front the whole entire time.
Yeah, Daniel!
Do you ride for somebody? You sponsored? I love